Boom, we back. What up? It's E. It's E. Y'all know it's E. So lately, I've been getting a lot of downloads, information, understanding about ego death and overcoming that last remnants of your old self, right? So some people call it a spiritual awakening. Some people call it an ego death. Some people call it a dark night of the soul, right? But basically what's going on is your whole past paradigm, your whole past self. Let me double back. We tend to think that we're trying to manifest something, right? Or this lifestyle, or this way of being, this level of discipline, these type of people, the environment we want to be in. Most of us have been putting in that work, but we don't see any results because our old self has not fully perished or passed away, right, from us. So with the ego death, you start to understand, all of these things that I was doing before in a negative cycle repetitiously, those were not me. That was the set of karmic cycles that I incarnated with, right? Those were the set of generational curses and laws that I had to overcome to be able to go into the next version of myself, which is my highest timeline, right? So as I've been talking about timeline shifts, we're coming into that harvest moon, right? September is the 9th month, and we have this harvest moon coming up. So all of the things that we've been working on from the beginning of the year are about to manifest into our lives, right? Just like a pregnancy. So in saying that, if you've been doing spiritual work for the beginning of the year, the past 9 months, all of that is at a culmination point. You know what I'm saying? At least for myself, I know that when I'm looking at myself, I'm like, okay, I figured this out before, so why am I back here? I figured this out before, so why am I back here? But I realize now, when a mother is pushing out a child, it's the hardest. You feel the most pressure when you get to that, when you have to actually push, right? So when it's time for you to jump to the next level or make a timeline shift or become a newer, higher version of yourself, it's going to get hard, it's going to get shaky because you're doing that final push, right? Most people never get to the point where they're even pushing for anything else. They're just settling in, staying in that comfort zone. And when people say, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your comfort zone, they tell you, but what does that really mean, right? It means that your old self really have to die. All the things that you thought made you up and gave you your security, that gave you your stability, that has to go for you to get to another level of stability. Most of us, we are attached to the things that we thought were us, right? Our ego, our personality. We don't realize that we attach our meaning of ourselves to the people, places, and possessions around us. So, perfect example would be if you are a security guard, right? Then over time, you getting rules and you correcting shit and doing all this paperwork, you start to believe that the security guard position is you. Now, you never have no leniency towards anybody. You always have to do the right thing at your job. It's like you have become your job. So the same thing happens in our relationships and our friendships and even in our religious beliefs. We become all of these things that are not real because our egoic mind, right, our lower being needs to attach to an idea of something to keep existing. So it says, no, I'm a nice person. I'm a mean person. I'm a millionaire. I'm broke. I'm a gym goer. I'm a spiritualist. All of these are labels. All of these are labels for something that cannot be labeled when we are the infinite intelligence of the cosmos, right? So when you begin to come out of this egoic way of living in your shell, all of this like stuff that we have suppressed from our childhoods. For example, I was thinking about the fact that my parents didn't give me a permission, didn't give me money at one point to go on a field trip. And that kept me all of this time. I'm 27. All of this time that has been a deeply held belief that I didn't deserve true abundance. So saying that to say, it's just those small things that we have suppressed so long because our ego, our animalistic self, our instincts does all of this to protect us, to shield us, to shelter us. as you begin to cultivate your energy to higher levels, you are shedding those layers. You are, like, I can't think of his name. He was saying what he calls it, a fear purge. When you start to really, really tap into your higher levels of spiritual being, you have to purge all of the unnecessary and all of the emotions and not feelings and thoughts that have allowed you to be a toxic individual and a hindrance and self-sabotaging being to yourself, to your own path. Because like we always say, everything outside of us is a projection of what's going on in the internal world. So as your ego, as whatever you want to call it, your sense of being, your sense of who you thought you were, as that begins to dissolve and you come into a new understanding of yourself, it's going to be a fear there, because it's like a little death, but it feels like you're dying literally, because what you know of yourself can no longer exist in this higher level of being. You start to come in contact with high vibrational people and want to do high vibrational activities, want to be in the gym, drinking a lot of water, not abusing your nervous system or your neural capacity. All of these things you start to wake up to and realize, oh, I thought I was doing the work before. And yes, you were doing it, but now it is a culmination point for a lot of us, because we have birthed our new selves. Like, we're coming out of that egg. You know what I'm saying? They asked Neo in the Matrix, why do my eyes hurt? Well, no, Neo asked Morpheus, why do my eyes hurt? He's like, because you've never used them before. So when you're shedding your ego and learning to live in your highest vibration, it can be difficult, it can hurt, because you've never lived in a way where you were fearless. You never lived in true abundance, in true contentness, in true happiness, right? Allow yourself to shed the layers of your old self, because that is how you get to all your manifestations, your abundance. Imagine, you can't be a boss if you have insecure emotions in you. You're going to build an empire and it's going to crumble because you are shaky on your own foundation. So you cannot be a general and run an army and be wishy-washy, because they're looking for you in those testing times. They're looking for you to be stable and have a clear mind in those testing times. So understand, if you choose to walk that spiritual path, this what comes with that, dissolving of your past self, your lower self, right? And I realized over time, as you begin to get purer and purer, your ego, your animalistic self, your habits, they grab onto you harder, right? So you start to indulge harder in these things right before it burns out. So they say a light burns its brightest right before it blows out. Understand, if you're shedding right now, keep shedding, keep shedding, keep shedding, and keep allowing yourself to be in honesty with yourself. Keep cleansing your energy so you can come to your purest version of yourself, your highest form.